What's up, everybody? As always, still figuring out the technology. Um, at some point, I'll get it right where I can just go on at exactly the right time, but I'm sort of not there yet. Uh, Getting closer, though. All right, so looks like I'm live on Zoom. Looks like I'm live on Facebook, and that is about 15 minutes faster than last time. So, um, as promised, let's start off with what's Abe smoking tonight. Tonight, we have an anniversary cigar. So um, I'm part of a cigar club that sends me a few cigars every month. And one of the things they do at the end of the year is they send a wrap up cigar. They call it the LCA limited edition, and then whatever year it is. This is the third year in a row they're doing it, I think. And this one that I'm smoking tonight is from 2021. So it is almost exactly 2 years old. It's been sitting in my humidor. I definitely don't wait 2 years to smoke every cigar, but this is part of a stash from that 2 years ago that I break out every once in a while. It's really nice. I don't think I'm going to be sitting on it and waiting for it for 20 years. I'll basically smoke it here and there till I'm done with it. But yeah, that's what's good for tonight. So, as always, cigar cutter. Have a nice V cut there. And cheap lighter. I've got lighters at every price point, and what I find is that the cheap ones do a good enough of a job. And although they don't have like lifetime guarantees or anything, I can basically buy them for $5 each, a 3 pack for 15 bucks or so, and just get a couple of these a year, and I'm perfectly fine. Yep, as good as I remember it. And for those of you who are wondering what I'm drinking, the tried and true classic Diet Coke. The bubbles and the cokiness are a perfect complement to these cigars. If it was a little bit earlier in the day, I'd have some coffee because that also matches well. But it's not. It's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been dark outside for like 16 hours already. So it is definitely time for not coffee. All right. I'm enjoying this. So I'm going to take a couple of more moments to do that while people like hop in and out. Oh gosh, there's two people in this live. I hope I'm not boring them with my smoking. Although one friend said that they will be smoking with me live or virtually or offsite. So I'll appreciate that while they're watching. All right. So now that the formalities are out of the way, uh, welcome to Q&A episode 3. Today is December 14th, 13th. Today is December 13th. So for those of you who are here for Amazon stuff, we are right in the middle of peak season. Um, Historically, this has actually been just about the busiest week of the entire calendar year because this is just about the last week where you can buy things and have a comfortable amount of time to ship things and get them to shoppers. After this, lots more of the shipping times that you see on Amazon will say get there after Christmas. It frustrates people. They buy elsewhere. Right now, the majority of things are still saying Christmas delivery. So people are buying at their highest speed of the year. It's not promotion driven like Black Friday is, but from what I see across the accounts I work with and the accounts I look like, sales have been very nice every single day this week. Definitely a strong season for most people. Hopefully, if you're selling on Amazon, it's been a good year for you too. Um, it's definitely been a challenging year between Amazon fees and all sorts of the usual Amazon stuff. Lots of people are finding it more challenging than in years past. But like I always say, the people who focus on their business the most tend to roll with all those changes and end up doing just fine. They have their best years. They have their numbers where they want them to be, even if it's not really where they want them to be. They end up in places where the numbers are comfortable for them. I was just talking to somebody this morning, and I always brace myself before phone calls because I feel like my history of doing customer service means that the phone rings and somebody has a problem on the other end. So I always go into phone calls with that mindset. But no, this phone call was catching up on a whole year that went past for a certain account. They're up 2.5 times over what they were last year. And we're talking about a business that went from 7 figures to 8 figures. And they're on track. They said, listen, we're looking for next year to be as big of a jump as it was this past year. We have the resources, we've scaled a lot, we figured out a lot of things this year, and we're looking to do more of the same. I'm like, I'm on that boat with you, buddy. Let's push it as much as we can. So that should be doable for many people on Amazon. If you have a business where you're giving it good focus, you should be able to get good results out of it. Do I have something on me? Yes. Well, hopefully it's not there anymore. Apologies. Um, so again, hopefully everybody is having a good Christmas season. We call it a holiday season because Christmas is not the only holiday that's going on right now. We've got Hanukkah happening, and we've got Kwanzaa, I guess. We've got Boxing Day or Boxing Day week coming up in Canada and other places. So there's, no matter your orientation, there's a holiday to need gifts for. Lean into that and buy things. One thing I'm curious about, and maybe you can put a comment in the comment section, is there's lots of news about the economy being challenging and about us being on the edge of a difficult situation. Recession, depression, contraction, inflation, pick your hysterical word, but there's a lot of talk about that. And someone on LinkedIn wrote a long post about how layoffs at a couple of companies is just the beginning and disaster is coming. I'm curious, do the people watching or within your space, do people feel nervous about the economy and how it's going to affect them? Because truthfully, when I speak to like actual individual people, every individual situation, knock on wood, seems to be all right. People have their jobs. People's expenses are relatively steady. People's lives are generally in order, not worse than whatever things happen on any day of the week in the world. So I'm curious to see, are all of the things happening on the news matching what people are experiencing around them or not? I suspect not. And my opinion is always, even in the worst of times, some people are up, some people are down, some people are way up, and some people are way down. And it is the responsibility and the opportunity of any individual person to be successful in challenging times. There can be times where natural disaster happens, and if you've got a pickup truck, you can get things from here to there and make money. There can be financial disaster, and you can make money helping people navigate those challenges. There can be housing issues, plenty of opportunities there also. You just have to be open-minded and lean into it. And same thing goes for our Amazon business space. We just have to do the things. Oh man, I went on a rant and let my cigar go out. One of these days, I need to ask somebody, what is the correct amount of time you should expect this cigar to last before needing to take a puff? I see Ryan's in the room. Ryan might know this question without me needing to Google it. But I feel like 5, 6, 7 minutes and I'm done. But 3 minutes? Yeah, I definitely went longer than 3 minutes. All right. Maybe I need to set 3-minute timers to remind myself to take a puff. But hopefully, if I've been saying things of value, it's worth it for me to keep talking. So, all right, having gotten that out of the way, onto Amazon news. There's sort of two things to talk about this year. First thing is not actually an Amazon selling thing, but a lot of people showed up in my feed last week and said that there's a massive hack on Amazon and people are going in and changing addresses and getting things delivered to these other addresses. And they said if you go into your Amazon app and you look at your delivery addresses, you will see extra addresses. Lo and behold, I looked at my app and I saw an Amazon hub as a delivery address. Now, I don't think that this was a massive hack. I think that Amazon added Amazon hub delivery addresses as a way for people to make it easier to pick up their packages without delivery people having to go to every single house. Now, they did it in a super clumsy way because if they didn't actually tell anybody that they're doing this, they made a lot of people nervous. They're going to make a lot of people confused. But the general idea is trying to steer people to things that allow Amazon to get their shipping done more easily. I get that. I already know that when I buy a lot of things, Amazon gives me the option of getting my things all on the same day, as opposed to splitting it over a couple of days. I don't really care about that. I know those delivery drivers are on my block one way or another, with or without my packages, so I'm not really saving them much time. But if you've seen that in your app, let me know. And if you have seen it in your app, I would say not to be too worried, but I also would say to delete it. That's what I did. There was one address and I deleted it. It was for like a Amazon hub 3 blocks from my house. I can't imagine the people who did a massive worldwide hack picked places so spread out through America that they're going to have to run all over the place to get their stolen stuff. Unlikely. Was that 3 minutes? I gotta say, one of the things I love about this cigar, and one of the things I'm gonna miss when it's fully done, is the amount of smoke that comes out of this is much, much more than regular cigars. Um, and every time I take a puff, I push out this huge plume of smoke and I sort of say, whoa, that was something, even though it keeps happening. So, should I do it again? Picture perfect. I sort of almost feel like there's so much smoke happening that even from a distance, you'll feel like you got some of it. So Amazon hub blockers, don't worry about it, but also don't leave them in your account. It's a small thing, but better to be on top of your accounts. Oh, hey Dan, what's going on? So I spoke about it earlier, but this is an LCA 2021, 2 years old. I'm pretty sure you've got some of these because we're both Privada Club members. So um, if you've smoked through all of yours, I'd actually be happy to share a couple from my stash. I still appreciate that selection you sent me when we first ended up in that group together. But yeah, this is a fantastic smoke. I happened to be in Austin last year and found somebody who actually had a box of it just like sitting in their humidor. I said, I need that box. And that extended me out for another 22 sticks, I think. So yes, I love these. I'm happy I found a box. And for cigar friends, I'm always happy to share these. They always get good feedback. Yeah. Dan, I'm glad you agree. All right. So next on Amazon, like I said earlier, I've been having conversations with the people around me, clients, fellow Amazon advertising people, people I know that are on Amazon. And we've been talking about what 2023 looked like. We're talking about what 2024 might look like. And really, now is sort of the time to start thinking about it. Now is the time to start planning. When I talk about planning, I think I might discuss it today a little bit differently than you might hear elsewhere. Typically, when people talk about what's going to happen on Amazon in 2024. They talk about features. They talk about changes to Amazon and their fees. That's a big one. They talk about like things which are big one-time changes. But what I want to talk about is something a little bit more plain old business focused, which is looking at what you sell and trying to figure out what you did well with and trying to figure out how to do more of the same, trying to figure out what didn't work and how to avoid that thing happening. Um, the way we do that when I work with my clients is pretty simple. We have an overall conversation in which we set the ground rules, and then we sort of look at the account within those ground rules. So the first thing we do is we try to say, what does your business look like? What do you sell? What's your product selection and your product mix? From there, we try to identify what are the main best products of this account. We call it sort of a bucket. We call it bucket number 1, bucket 2, 3, and 4. And bucket number 1 are your best sellers. We try to identify those. We try to decide if we still think it'll be a bestseller going into 2024 or into the next year, because you should be able to like watch this video a year from now and get the same value out of it. Maybe I'll be smoking one of these at the same time next year, and it will be a cigar that's a year older. But we want to look at the best sellers of the year that just passed. We want to say, do we think it still has the ability to remain a bestseller? Is it something which has a lifetime of a while? Was it something which peaked for a weird reason that we can't really expect to duplicate? But whatever it is, we want to take that and identify it and say, can we lean into it? If we can lean into it, then it's time to dig in a little bit. It's time to say, okay, how much did we sell last year? What would be a good goal for growth? And we say we sold 100 units last year. A good growth goal might be 125 units, a 25% jump. And then we say, all right, if we do all of the same things, just a little bit more, can that get us 25% growth? If we make our campaign budgets a little bit higher, will that give it to us? If we expand a little bit here or a little bit there, will that give it to us? Or do we need to think outside the box? Do we need to advertise off Amazon? Do we need to start working with influencers? Do we need to start trying different things which weren't part of the mix this year? So we'll brainstorm on that a little bit. We'll set a general plan in place for each product, and then we'll try to set monthly goals. And of course, we try to hit those monthly goals and analyze what happens as we run. So that's the first bucket of products. Those are the best sellers. Let's keep those going. Now, the second bucket, the second group of products are the products with potential. So with those products, we look at them and say, they did all right. We could have done more. They still have potential. Can we get those to be best sellers? And that will also look at in a similar way to those best sellers. We'll say, what things should we try in order to get them to be that next stage? A lot of times, those will be doing more of the same, just more. So we might be able to spend extra money on marketing. We might be able to sell more if we just had more goods, and we'll be intentional about it. So if you've been running low, if you've been tight, and those have been things which prevented you from selling more, a lot of times bringing in more inventory will simply signal to Amazon that you are able to sell more. You've gotten good response from shoppers so far, and they'll let you feed that system to make more sales out of it. So that's the second group that we look at. Third group we look at is sort of everything else. Everything else is all of the things which are part of your business, but they're not really going to be winners. You don't expect them to be. They're accessories for bestsellers. They are colors and styles which you thought that might be good, never took off. They are products which you had great expectations for on day one, but by the time you brought the goods in, 46 other competitors thought the same thing, burned out the market. Whatever the story might be, that's everything else. That needs to get a critical eye. You need to look at those things and you need to say, what are we going to do with this? Most of the time, the answer is get rid of it. Sell it at cost, sell it maybe even a little bit of a loss, get whatever money you spent on it back as much as you can and use it more wisely. It's almost always going to be the case. The exception to that is going to be products which are steady. They aren't a loser. You didn't miss your expectations, but they had low expectations from the beginning. So if you had, for example, a refill for a printer, okay, you say, listen, this is never going to sell as much as the printer itself. That's actually a terrible example because printers are usually the basis for buying much more refills of ink. But if it's a refill for something, you're always expecting it to sell a fraction of the main thing. Okay, deal with it, keep it part of your catalog, and be understanding of it having its position. At the same time, what you might want to realize is that some of those products might not be worth your time. An accessory for a main product, yes, but a product which is always going to have a low sales volume, the value of your time to keep maintaining that product in your inventory very often is not going to be worth it. So you sort of want to be thoughtful about that possibility. And when you're taking the time for the year ahead, do the things you need to do to make sure that your account is efficient, that your inventory is tight, and that you're doing all the right things. Part of that is sort of realizing that those small SKUs, those small products in your account can actually end up leading to issues. When I say leading to issues, what do I mean? If you sell something that sells maybe 5 pieces a month for an entire year, it's 50 pieces, 60 pieces. You might say, hey, I'm just going to send in all 60 pieces once and I'm done. Problem is, Amazon's going to penalize you for being too heavy on that stock. And enough of those penalties for being overloaded on stock, it starts affecting your account with higher fees. That's not worth it. On the opposite end, if you say you're going to hold the goods by you and you're going to drip in product, that's another problem because you're also holding the goods. It's as much of a pain for you to hold it as it is for Amazon to hold it. Might not be a pain to hold one thing, but if you've got 250 things and all 250 things sell 5 units a month, every single day you're replenishing product after product after product. That's taking away from time you could be using to do a single thing at much larger scale. So you want to be thoughtful about those small things. That's that whole rest of the bucket. Now, of course, every business is different. Some businesses are built upon lots of sales of small quantities of product at high prices and high margin. If that's your model, by all means, absolutely continue to do what works for you. The things I'm saying are sort of generalized. They apply to most. They apply to you. Hopefully, I'm giving you a little bit of insight. Now, I did mention 4 buckets. There is actually a 4th bucket, which is the bucket of launches. Launches are product which we don't sell yet. They are coming to market. They are things which we don't know what the expectations will be. And the idea is for you to grow. One of the ways you grow is by adding products to your catalog. I've seen different information posted throughout the internet in which they say something like 30 or 40% of Amazon sales come from sellers and come from products which were not on the catalog a couple of years earlier. So there's always an influx of new things to buy. There's always an influx of new people selling those things. You basically want to be feeding that system to find what your next winners will be. There's no business that is running for a long time with the same exact product set that they had years earlier. I mean, there might be one, but really, statistically, it's zero. Everybody should be introducing new product. Everybody should be introducing new offerings. Whatever business you're in, add to your offerings, and that will be a place where you get business growth. So that's going to be your 4th bucket. We look at that differently. We want to plan for it as much as possible. Launches take time. So you want to say, listen, over the course of the year ahead, we intend to launch X amount of products. This is going to be the pace, and try to keep to it and try to have an estimation of where that's going to feed in. So when you do those things, that's what your planning for 2024 should look like. Look at your inventory, try to make plans for it. Now, there's 100 other things you can plan for also. Again, the things that you've done well and the things that you've maybe not done so well could probably fill a piece of paper a mile long. Certainly does for me. And you basically want to take this month to evaluate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, address as many of those things as you can, plan out the year ahead the right way. All right. I think that's sort of everything I had to say. We got a cigar in. I didn't really get to sip my Diet Coke, but I'll probably do that in a moment. We talked about a couple of important things. I appreciate all the guys and gals that came on for this amount of time. And I look forward to the next one. Talk to you all soon.